Hello, everyone. In the business world, there are geniuses who elevate their name to the top through their exceptional achievements. However, there are also individuals whose pursuit of wealth and power leads them into the dark depths of deceit and fraud. Allen Stanford, a business magnate and a charismatic-looking man, belongs to the latter category. His exploits, which seemed promising at first, turned out to be a web woven with lies and financial manipulations. For years, Stanford charmed and seduced investors from around the world with promises of astronomical returns and seemingly secure certificates of deposit. But behind this facade of prosperity lurked a complex network of fraud and deception that would shake the very foundations of the financial industry. When U.S. authorities uncovered Stanford's diabolical scheme in 2009, the world was stunned. Billions of dollars had been misappropriated, lifelong savings reduced to nothing. The saga of Allen Stanford became a grim symbol of boundless greed and betrayal of trust in the world of finance. But who was this man who managed to deceive investors, politicians, and even celebrities? How did he build his fraudulent empire, fueled by lies and illusions? And how was he ultimately brought to account for his actions in front of the justice system? Born in the small town of Mahia, Texas, Robert Allen Stanford, his full name, was destined to leave an indelible mark on the business world. From a young age, he was driven by a devouring ambition. He had a clear vision of what he wanted to achieve and knew that power and wealth were the privileged pathways to attain the coveted fame. Indeed, Stanford quickly distinguished himself in the business world through his audacity and self-assurance. He refused to conform to established norms and was willing to take considerable risks to achieve his ambitious goals. For Stanford, mere acceptance of the status quo could not satisfy his deepest aspirations. He was aware that the key to his destiny lay in financial success and power, two powerful levers that would enable him to leave an indelible mark on the business world. And he succeeded in realizing these aspirations remarkably. Thus, Stanford began his career in real estate and achieved his first business success through real estate speculation in Houston. After the Texas oil bubble burst in the early 1980s, Stanford, in collaboration with his father, seized the opportunity to purchase devalued real estate. Over the years, as the market recovered, they sold these properties with considerable profit. This initial success laid the foundation for Stanford's fortune, and after his father's retirement in 1993, he took control of the thriving company, which already had 500 employees. However, Stanford was not satisfied with real estate alone. His overflowing ambition led him to venture into the banking industry, a field where he believed he could expand his influence and wealth even more significantly. With this in mind, he founded Stanford International Bank, a financial institution based in the offshore tax haven of Antigua in the Caribbean, which was a subsidiary of the Stanford Financial Group. It was there that he truly established his financial empire and devised a scheme that would shake the entire financial industry. From the early days of Stanford International Bank, Allen Stanford devised a bold approach to attract investors. His magnetic charm and presence allowed him to quickly gain the trust of those seeking to grow their money. With unmatched ease, he presented himself as a visionary, a forward-thinking businessman whose innovative ideas would revolutionize the financial world. He promised exceptional returns and enticing investment opportunities. One of the most appealing offers from Stanford International Bank was the certificates of deposit. He sold these certificates as safe and profitable investments, claiming that the deposited funds were used to finance high-yield investments. Investors were seduced by the promise of substantial profits, drawn to the prestige associated with Stanford's growing financial empire. The carefully cultivated image of Allen Stanford as a successful and visionary entrepreneur convinced many investors to rush in and seize this enticing opportunity. He managed to attract an international clientele in search of substantial profits, capitalizing on their desire to grow their money and achieve exceptional returns. However, behind these promises of success lay a much darker reality. The certificates of deposit offered by Stanford International Bank were, in fact, a Ponzi fraud scheme. New investors were used to pay the promised returns to previous investors, creating a pyramid chain based on massive fraud. Stanford's financial empire was thus built on lies and manipulations. The exceptional returns he promised were fictitious, and the high-yield investments were nothing more than inventions meant to maintain the illusion of financial prosperity. For years, Stanford's elaborate system operated smoothly, attracting more and more investors and accumulating billions of dollars. However, the truth always finds a way to be revealed. And in 2009, that truth came crashing down, exposing the staggering extent of Allen Stanford's orchestrated fraud. Indeed, U.S. authorities launched a thorough investigation into Stanford's activities, delving into the intricacies of his financial empire. What they uncovered was shocking. Allen Stanford had simply orchestrated a large-scale swindle. He had set up a sophisticated scheme that allowed him to sell approximately $8 billion worth of financial products by promising exceptional returns. This revelation shook the financial industry and sent shockwaves around the world. Investors who had placed their trust and money in Stanford's hands found themselves trapped in a web of deceit and fraud. The trust they had placed in this charismatic man had turned into disillusionment and financial loss. Faced with the magnitude of this unprecedented fraud, U.S. authorities acted swiftly. The overwhelming evidence that emerged led to an inevitable outcome: the resounding trial that would put an end to Stanford's impunity and restore a semblance of justice. In 2012, he was found guilty of multiple charges, including fraud, money laundering, and obstruction of justice. The justice system was relentless. Stanford was sentenced to 110 years in prison, making him one of the most notorious financial criminals of our time. Thus concludes the story of Allen Stanford, a man once revered for his supposed financial achievements, but whose name will forever be associated with one of the largest frauds known to date. His tumultuous journey serves as a reminder of the dangers of boundless greed and the need for transparency in the world of finance. Since then, the Stanford case has sent shockwaves and exposed flaws in the financial regulatory system. It has also raised questions about the accountability of supervisory bodies and auditors who failed to detect Stanford's fraudulent activities for many years. The subsequent investigations revealed loopholes in the surveillance and control mechanisms that allowed the fraud to thrive. As a result, drastic measures were swiftly implemented to strengthen financial regulations and ensure increased protection for investors. Controls and audits were significantly enhanced, demanding heightened vigilance in monitoring financial transactions. Regulatory authorities also committed to improving transparency and fostering greater accountability within the financial industry. On his part, Allen Stanford is currently incarcerated at the Coleman II USP prison in Somerville, Florida. His situation is dire, as his release is not possible until March 13, 2103, a distant date when he would have reached the age of 152. This perspective highlights the far-reaching consequences that resulted from his precipitous fall. Once accustomed to a life of luxury and privilege alongside his family, Stanford has experienced a radical transformation. Now, he finds himself in cold solitude, surrounded by fellow inmates, far removed from everything he once knew. This abrupt transition marks a drastic turning point in the life of a man who was once adored and achieved the prestigious title of Knight Commander of the Order of the British Empire, becoming the first American to be honored in such a manner. Unfortunately, his fate took a sharp turn when the truth came to light, revealing his vast swindle. As expected, his once envied title was stripped away, shattering the glorious image he had constructed and plunging him into a dark reality. In conclusion, the story of Allen Stanford unfolds as a tragic saga, poignantly revealing the vulnerability of appearances and the devastating repercussions that can result from the actions of a once revered man. His abrupt downfall marks a significant turning point, shedding light on the fragility of fleeting successes and the illusion of grandeur. However, his narrative also serves as a reminder that apparent successes can mask troubling truths. It cautions against blind idolization and reminds us of the need to remain vigilant in the face of corruption that can hide behind masks. The devastating consequences of his actions serve as a poignant reminder that betrayal of trust can inflict immeasurable harm. Furthermore, his story is a powerful warning of the devastating consequences that can arise from the relentless pursuit of power and wealth, and an eternal reminder of the need for integrity and accountability in our actions.